Maverick News presents The Rick Walker Show. Defrag your mind.
Ron DeSantis is out and is now endorsing Trump. We'll have info on that for you. Plus, the crowd goes wild and chants F Trudeau at the UFC event. All that and a whole lot more coming up right here on the Maverick News Channel. Don't go away. I'll be right back.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Are you getting that? I think it was pretty clear. That was the crowd at last night's UFC event. Sorry I wasn't here last night. I had family things to take care of, and I did that, and now I'm here. I was aware of that last night, though, and yeah. That should give you some indication of where the next federal election might go. That being said, that's just one part of the equation. That represents a particular kind of demographic. Probably a group of people that you're kind of in tune with. I think that this program probably has a similar kind of audience. And the message was pretty darn clear. Oh, man. We'll come back to that. We have a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, though. We have, as I said, Ron DeSantis dropping out of the race for the White House, now endorsing Donald Trump. He just made that announcement today, just a short time ago. We have Ron DeSantis ready to tell you why right here. Okay, here's the clip. Here's his statement. Here is Ron DeSantis, a guy who really represented, I think, one of the major threats to Trump heading into this election cycle. Never really got the traction that most people expected he would. Kind of misfired. I think that's a reflection of how incredibly loyal the Trump base is, even though a lot of people within the Trump MAGA movement have been sort of on side with DeSantis in many ways. He was going after the Trump supporters, the MAGA supporters. It was a miscalculation, obviously. And now tonight, Ron DeSantis stepping aside, and he's endorsing Trump, but this guy will not be Trump's running mate for sure, because the endorsement is not. I wouldn't say this is a full force endorsement. Just listen to what he says, especially the stuff about the response to the pandemic. Here we go. Oh, hang on a second here.
Service.
Here we
joining
go.
the
I'll
United
read cue
States
for
Navy
you.
and serving in Iraq. Greetings from Florida. The warmth of being home is a reminder why I've chosen public service. From joining the United States Navy and serving in Iraq to representing the people in the U.S. Congress, and now serving as governor of Florida. And it reminds me why I decided to run for president, to fight for those who've been forgotten in this country. This is America's time for choosing. We can choose to allow a border invasion, or we can choose to stop it. We can choose reckless borrowing and spending, or we can choose to limit government and lower inflation. We can choose political indoctrination, or we can choose classical education. These choices are symptoms of the underlying struggle to ensure that constitutional government can endure and that Western civilization can survive. And we launched this campaign to bring accountability to government, regain sovereignty at our border, and restore sanity to our society. We cannot succeed as a country if we allow our nation to be invaded, our currency to be debased, our cities to crumble, and our kids to be indoctrinated. The DC elites who facilitated this mess do not care about you, and they do not work for you. They work for themselves. They seek to accumulate power at your expense to pursue an agenda that is harmful to the American people. Citizens do not serve politicians. It is the duty of politicians to serve you. Talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words. Reversing the decline of this nation requires leadership that delivers big results for the people we are elected to serve. I have a record of leading with conviction, championing an agenda marked by bold colors, delivering on my promises, and defeating the people who are responsible for our nation's decline. That is the type of leadership we need for all of America. Now, over the past many months, Casey and I have traveled across the country to deliver a message of hope that decline is a choice and that we can, in fact, succeed again as a nation. Nobody worked harder, and we left it all out on the field. Now, following our second place finish in Iowa, we've prayed and deliberated on the way forward. If there was anything I could do to produce a favorable outcome, more campaign stops, more interviews, I would do it. But I can't ask our supporters to volunteer their time and donate their resources if we don't have a clear path to victory. Accordingly, I am today suspending my campaign. I'm proud to have delivered on 100% of my promises, and I will not stop now. It's clear to me that a majority of Republican primary voters want to give Donald Trump another chance. They watch his presidency get stymied by relentless resistance, and they see Democrats using lawfare this day to attack him. Well, I've had disagreements with Donald Trump, such as on the coronavirus pandemic and his elevation of Anthony Fauci. Trump is superior to the current incumbent, Joe Biden. That is clear. I signed a pledge to support the Republican nominee, and I will honor that pledge. He has my endorsement because we can't go back to the old Republican guard of yesteryear, a repackaged form of warmed-over corporatism that Nikki Haley represents. The days of putting Americans last, of kowtowing to large corporations, of caving to woke ideology are over. I thank all of our passionate supporters who have stood by us through it all. That we had people volunteer to come to Iowa in the middle of a blizzard to knock on doors and make phone calls touched us dearly. No candidate had more thrown at him, but no candidate had so many committed volunteers and staff. Finally, I want to thank my wife, Casey, and our kids, Madison, Mason, and Mamie. Casey's gone far above and beyond in her support for our campaign and for our cause. She's not only a great wife and mother, she's a great American who cares deeply about the future of the country that our kids will inherit. Our kids have seen and done a lot on the trail, from playing on the famed Field of Dreams baseball site in Iowa to making their first snowman in New Hampshire. They are one of the reasons we fight so hard for what we believe in. Winston Churchill once remarked that success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. While this campaign has ended, the mission continues. Down here in Florida, we will continue to show the country how to lead. Thank you, and God bless.
Sorry, my microphone was muted there, folks. So Nikki Haley is now really the last person standing. It's really now just a two-person race between the former ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, and Donald Trump. But I don't even know how serious this battle is now. It's getting kind of nasty, as politics tends to these days, especially with Donald Trump. Have you noticed what he's calling Nikki Haley? He's calling her bird brain. Jeez. It's so juvenile and yet so effective. It really, truly is. He calls her bird brain. So here's Nikki Haley and her response to the announcement by Ron Desantis just a short time ago, announcing that he is out. And as I said, you could kind of see what I mean about his endorsement. It's not a complete endorsement. It's like, I've disagreed with Trump on this, and I've just, and what we really need is a leader like me. So I don't know if there are sour grapes there or what that is exactly, but he said, I signed an agreement to endorse the Republican nominee, so that's what I'm doing. But, so yeah, DeSantis will not be Trump's running mate for sure. And Nikki Haley won't be the nominee either. But here's her response to DeSantis's announcement just moments ago.
You're gonna win. Now, we just heard that Ron DeSantis has dropped out of the race. He ran a great race. He's been a good governor, and we wish him well. Having said that, it's now one fella and one lady left. So there were 14 people in this race. There were a lot of fellas. All the fellas are out, except for this one. And this comes down to, what do you want? Do you want more of the same, or do you want something new? Do you want to go back to a country where they decide who's a good person, who's a bad person, who's the right person, who's the wrong person? No. Or do you want to come together as Americans and say, you know what? We're going to get inflation down and get our economy back on track. Yeah. We're going to get our kids reading again and go back to the basics in education. We're going to secure our border once and for all. We're going to bring law and order back to this country, and we are going to have a strong America that we can all be proud of. That's our goal. That's what we're doing. We've got 2 days until New Hampshire goes to the polls, and we're going to make sure that we fight all the way until the last second. And what the people of New Hampshire should know is, when we win the presidency in this country, I will do everything I can to prove to you that you made the right decision. But for now, I'll leave you with this. May the best woman win.
Okay, let's pull that down. Very interesting. So just getting some other messages coming in from folks here. So the question now is, will Nikki Haley be able to mount any kind of a serious challenge to Trump? And, we're heading into New Hampshire here now. I think it's like over. I really do. I think it was over in Iowa, as I said. I think Desantis has made the right decision. And I think I've got some video here of Trump arriving back in New Hampshire tonight, just a short time ago. Let me just cue this up for you. New video of President Trump coming in. Here it is. I'd say hot off the press, but it's hot through the net tonight. There's a still. Where'd we go with that? I'm losing track of my tabs, folks. Here we go. Okay, here's Donald Trump arriving in New Hampshire. So, still lots of support there, man. What can I say? It's just, it's bigger than Trudeau mania ever was. And I'd say the MAGA people are way more passionate as well. There's more footage of Trump on his way to Rochester in New Hampshire tonight. I think I'm showing this video in reverse order, but nevertheless, here's the action. Life in a fishbowl. Everywhere you go, you need to have that kind of protection. Isn't that amazing? What kind of life is that? As much as somebody has power, I think when you live like that, it is a sacrifice as well. Just regardless, of doesn't matter where you're at on the political spectrum. It's just a reality, And here's another clip. I don't know if this is a clip with a caption saying that President Trump has now retired the name DeSanctimonious. I'll run this to see if there's anything of value in this or not. Just these names that he comes up with. Again, it's just so juvenile and yet so effective. All right, here's Trump.
I said, that name is,
Okay.
he just said, will I be using the name Ron DeSanctimonious? I said, that name is officially retired.
That's funny. I guess Biden has a new campaign ad up as well. and he's using Nikki Haley in it. And can someone please explain, like, am I missing something here on this clip that is now going around of Nikki Haley saying she was teased for being brown? I honestly, I don't quite understand it. So I'm going to run this for you. I don't quite get it. This was during an interview on NBC. Let's listen to this. Somebody can help me out in the chat. Let me know.
We were the only Indian family in our
Okay.
small
Now I
southern
get it.
town. I was teased every day for being brown. So anyone that wants to question it can go back and look at what I've said on how hard it was to grow up in the deep South as a brown girl. Anybody can look at my record and see when Walter Scott was shot down by a dirty cop, how I made sure that the Walter Scott family didn't suffer because we put the first body camera bill in the country in place. Anybody can look at the fact that when we had 9 amazing souls die in Mother Emanuel Church, I did something that no Republican or Democrat ever wanted to touch, which was call for the Confederate flag to come down because it would take 2/3 of the House and Senate and was an impossible feat. I don't know what you're implying with that, but what I will tell you is saying that I had Black friends is a source of pride. Saying that I had white friends is a source of pride. If you want to know what it was like growing up, I was disqualified from a beauty pageant because I wasn't white or Black, because they didn't know where to put me. So look, I know the hardships, the pain that come with racism. It's the reason that I fight bullies every day when it comes to racism, anti-Semitism, or hate, and I always will. If I didn't mention slavery on that day, it's because that's an automatic. There's always been, the Civil War's always been known about slavery.
Interesting again. Politics. Word games. Okay. I think we've probably covered this as extensively as we need to, but there is one last thing we should show you. This is Trump putting to bed, I think for good, the rumors that his running mate might be Nikki Haley. Not a chance. Here's the clip of Trump. If you have any doubts, this is what he said.
She is not presidential timber. Now, when I say that, that probably means that she's not going to be chosen as the vice president. You know, you can go. No, you can go and you can say certain things, you know, I don't like them and blah, 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 and this. But when you say certain things, it sort of takes them out of play, right? I can't say she's not of the timber to be a vice, and then say, ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to announce that I've picked. Do you understand? But that's the way it is, okay? Tell it like it is. Tell it like it is. She is.
And somebody's out in the audience shouting, you know, who is going to be the BP? Well, there are a lot of rumors going around that it might be Tucker Carlson. I'm going to say right now, no. That's my prediction. My prediction is it won't be Tucker Carlson. The odds are pretty good in my favor, really, because that leaves a whole world of other human beings that he could, or at least Americans, that he could select for his running mate. I don't think it will be Tucker Carlson. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, especially given all the posts that are online today saying that it's going to be Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is valuable to Trump right where he is as a media pundit, commentator, supporter even. He's on the conservative side, anti-establishment, anti-elite side. So yeah, he needs Tucker Carlson right where he is. I think he's more valuable to Trump over there with his program on X and all the followers he has. So I don't think Trump will tap him for that position. He would lose the media presence that Tucker Carlson provides. So I don't think that will be where he goes. Plus, if you go back, you don't have to go too far to see that in the past, Tucker Carlson has actually come out with, there were private recordings of Tucker Carlson saying he didn't even like Trump. You may recall that those recordings came out when he was fired from Fox. So I don't think Trump will forget that. I think the public probably has, because in general, the public's memory collectively is pretty short. The public is fickle. People don't remember a lot of things from even just a short time ago. So no, I don't think it will be him. It's possible it will be him, but I don't think it will be personally. Trump did come out and said the other day that whoever he picks, it probably won't come as much of a surprise to people. I think I have a clip of him saying that here handy. If you give me just a moment, I can probably find it for you. And we are going to have a guest on the program in a little while talking about it is kind of a local issue here, but it's really becoming an international embarrassment for this community. We talked about it the other night, and I have a special guest who will join us to talk about this. And it's an example of the kind of challenges that communities across Canada and the United States face on a regular basis these days. And it also gives you an example of the same kind of challenges we're facing at the federal, provincial, state levels with the ruling elite class. So you're not going to want to miss it. Here we go. Here's the clip with Trump talking about who his VP pick might be. This goes back to Iowa.
Who would be in the running for vice president?
Well, I can't tell you that really. I mean, I know who it's going to be.
Give us a hint.
We'll do another show sometime.
Well, what about any of the people who you've run against? Would you be open to mending fences with any of them?
I will. I've already started like Christie better.
Christie for vice president?
I don't see it. That would be an upset. Christie for vice president. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to announce. Now,
I do want to get to this other question.
Yeah, he says in the end, it won't really come as much of a surprise to people. So I don't know. That kind of narrows it down a bit, but still cryptic. Don't really know. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll move on to other news. And now, here is our Beach Boys Good Vibrations show transition.
Feel the vibrations. Our quest continues. The truth is out there. We are Mavericks.
How about one more?
Fighting the Great Reset. By leading the Great Resistance. Maverick News. The antivirus programs for your mind.
We have footage inside these Hamas built tunnels in Gaza, released by the Israeli military. Man, they are extensive. Let's take a look at this together. Everyone can make their own assessment. This is, I don't know. The Israeli military tonight saying that they've uncovered prison cells in this, what they're calling a Hamas tunnel network beneath the city of Khan Yunis in southern Gaza. Now, this footage was given to NBC exclusively as they were able to access these cells on Friday as they went down there with Israeli troops into the basement of a house and then into a dark tunnel that just went on and on and on and on. Now, each cell had a caged door that could be locked from the outside. It was equipped with basic amenities such as a sink, toilet, and a shower, although none had running water. Now, Rear Admiral Danielle Hagari, an IDF spokesperson, expressed that the conditions were saying it's dark, it's hot, it's wet, it's lonely. There's no daylight. You lose your sense of direction, the sense of time. Israeli authorities claim to have found hair and other DNA evidence confirming the presence of hostages in these cells. I believe there are still about, about 130 hostages still in custody, still incarcerated in secret locations. The layout of the compound reportedly matched descriptions given by hostages released in late November. IDF released photos alleging they were children's drawings discovered at the site that were created by child hostages during their captivity. So they had children down in these tunnels, apparently. That's what's being reported. As of now, it's reported that between 105 and 130 hostages are believed to still be in captivity in the Gaza Strip, while the bodies of 27 others have been discovered, according to, again, the Israeli military. On a slightly positive note, 110 hostages have been successfully returned to Israel and other countries. It isn't just Israelis that they took as hostages. So this whole situation remains tense. Let's go to the video and show you what it looks like down in these tunnels. So as I say, some of this is now circulating on social media, released out to the public, and originally on Friday, they did invite an NBC journalist to be accompanied down into these tunnels to see exactly what they wanted to show him. So here's a look inside. You know, the thing is, like, how do you build something like this and keep it a secret? I don't think you do. I think that, like, this is this is a major undertaking. You don't just build something like this with a pickaxe and a shovel. And this takes a lot of money, a lot of resources. You can see they have cables running down through there for power and communication. The walls, the ceiling lined. This is like tunneling for some sort of a mining operation from what I'm seeing. It's probably similar kinds of techniques. but I'm no expert in tunneling, that's for sure. Look how far this goes, and this is sped up video, obviously. Now we're into an area where there's some articles scattered on the floor, getting into the area close to where these cells, prison cells, were constructed. We'll get to look inside in a moment. And they are extensive. And you've seen the video, too, of many of these networks of tunnels being destroyed, the surface level video of the explosions using really powerful munitions. And here you go. So this is some sort of a kitchen setup. Now, they don't really have plumbing down here, but they do. It looks like at times they've been bringing water down into these tunnels to service these makeshift washroom and shower facilities. Deep, deep, deep down we go again. It's kind of creepy, really. Very creepy. It's just, I guess it's hot down there. The air is very stale, and there's a prison cell. And again, everything lined with tiling, and it isn't clear, how the plumbing works. There isn't really plumbing. I guess they were bringing water down to service the toilets. I don't know how they set that stuff up, but I guess they were holding both adults and children down here. That's what they're reporting. Big fans, just consumer grade fans on stands to make the air move down there. Another cell. And wherever these other hostages are being held, it's not clear tonight. So again, this footage released by the Israeli Defense Forces. We're down deep, and it spreads out all over Gaza. I mean, this is just one series of tunnels. They have these things all over the place. It's an underground city, is really what it is. Beyond extensive. Huge undertaking. Now, because NBC was the first to get access to this, I'm just going to run a very, very short clip from their report. And it was Raf Sanchez, who I believe is the reporter. So I'll pick this up about halfway through his report just to give you a little highlight. You might want to go and see his entire report. Here he is.
It's not clear when the last time water worked in here.
Israel says hostages were held here for weeks.
What evidence do you have that hostages were actually kept here?
Most important thing, we have testimonies of hostages that verify this compound. We found here hair and other DNA
You found hair and DNA from the hostages here.
Yeah.
They also say they found these pictures drawn in the darkness by 5-year-old Emilia Eloni before she was released after 49 days. Since October 7th, Israeli troops have rescued only one hostage alive. More than 130 are still in captivity, a fact that weighs heavily here.
We're really trying to find them. We're doing everything we can.
The tunnels lie below the city of Han Yunis, much of it destroyed by Israeli airstrikes. This is all that's left of the home that took Ibrahim Abu Mustafa 13 years to build. Everything is erased, even memories. We can't get anything out, he says. So much suffering above and below ground.
So, just pain, suffering, tragedy all the way around. And no end in sight. Tonight. And again, here's some video of these tunnel networks being destroyed. And this gives you a sense of scale, how far-reaching these Hamas tunnels go. Like that is, how much ground does that cover? Miles and miles and miles, and that's just one section. Again, the money, the resources that would be needed to do that kind of stuff. That's extensive, serious. And we have more. Here's more footage of tunnels being blown to kingdom come. Oh. And this issue, I think, has polarized people more than anything else I've seen, except maybe the pandemic and the lockdowns and the mandates that came along with that. Now, there's an organization called UNRWA, and they have the responsibility through the United Nations to support Palestinian refugees. They have come under criticism, actually had been criticized even before October 7th, for being a little too cozy with Hamas. They've been accused of actually providing aid support for Hamas rather than simply providing support for refugees. When asked about,
it seems to me that all these
tunnels, these officials of UNRWA are saying that they had no idea these things are being built, and yet they're in there all the time. They work very closely with Hamas. They work very closely with the Palestinian people in Gaza, and they're saying that they had no idea these tunnels are even being built. Listen to this clip. I find this, honestly, folks, little bit hard to believe.
I was just wondering, given the UN's big role in Gaza, UNRWA, the role it's played in humanitarian efforts, has there ever been any indication to the UN that tunnels are being built under the city?
Not to us. I mean, it seems to me that all this infrastructure was built in a highly secretive way. I mean, I see it as an observer. So, I mean, it's to think that the UN had any understanding of what was, any information about those operations, I think is clearly the answer to that.
Right. You look at the scale of that operation. Look at you get a tunnel all underneath. That's the explosions show you just one section at a time that's being destroyed, and that's just what they've found and what they're blowing up. There is a lot more, and that guy's sitting there. I didn't know anything about it. Yeah. I'm inclined, after listening to that answer, to give more weight to the accusations coming through, which suggest UNRWA is maybe a little too close and to Hamas. If you're getting my drift. Then there's this guy. What's this guy's name? I don't really know him, but I think his name is Aiden Rachel. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. He is a very popular performer, singer, musician. And tonight a video from him is going, I don't know if it's viral, I guess. I'm getting tired of using that phrase, but he is saying that the people the Palestinian people could help bring an end to this conflict simply by standing up to Hamas themselves. So, I mean, that kind of talk is akin to whatever happens, do not comply, do not participate, rise up against your ruling elites in a different, maybe a little bit different way. But here he is, his video. You can make of this what you will. So let's just tune in, and I'll share this one with you. The Gazan Palestinians, he says, I'm going to read these subtitles, are not rebelling against the terrorist organization Hamas. They could have been bravely entering all tunnels tonight and rebel against Hamas. Fight them even at heavy costs for thousands of them. Return all the abducted to us. Kick out the terrorist organization Hamas. And start rebuilding their lives. They don't, so most of them should be treated as terrorists. Is what he says. So, easier said than done, I would say. It's difficult to stand up to a government. It is difficult to stand up to people armed with guns standing right next to you or in your neighborhood who rule over you. And, the Israelis are taking all the blame for this, but Hamas You think that they're not exerting pressure on the civilian population? They have a history of using civilians as human shields. And one of the most powerful tools, weapons, if you will, that they have is, without question, martyrdom. We've seen many examples, tons, over and over and over again, especially since the 80s, how that tool can be used. And yet it is something we here in the West do not really understand as a collective community. They don't fight the same way. And to fully understand what's going on over there, you need to understand the martyrdom denominator.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
I also have this post from Donald Trump, which was up on Truth Social, making reference to Nikki Haley, just reinforcing what we have talked about just a little, previously on the program. He says here, MAGA or I will never go for bird brain Nikki Haley. No loyalty, plenty of lies. I will never run against our great president, she said. He has done an outstanding job. To which I responded, how nice of you to say, Nikki, knowing full well that her words mean nothing. She even came to Mar-a-Lago with her family bearing gifts. Anyway, Birdbrain doesn't have the talent or temperament to do the job. Make America great again. Birdbrain. Oh. Anyway, that's funny. Oh. All right. What else do I have for you tonight? Well, how about all this UFC stuff? Who watched the fight? Let me go to the chat here and just check. Anybody watch that fight last night? With Strickland and the other guy? I say the other guy because even though the other guy technically won the fight, everybody's still talking about Strickland. And he didn't even really do much of like a news conference or anything afterward that I saw. But man, he made a splash, didn't he, in the media when he came out swinging against Trudeau in the pre-fight press conference with all his comments and his attacks on the mainstream media and the questions they were asking him. We ran those clips the other night and had a discussion about it. But here's a look at what happened. As the new champ, Dricus du Plessis. There he is. You probably saw this. He was getting his belt. South African. And there's absolutely a political element to this whole fight. He called for the South African flag as he was in the octagon and really embraced his nationality, very proud of it. And there is talk now of a championship fight now for the first time going to South Africa. Dana White, the UFC promoter, saying 100% this guy could be the fighter who could be the catalyst for that to happen. They've been talking about it for quite some time. But the other dude, Strickland, who came out swinging against Trudeau, saying all those things that so many people, I think, actually wanted to hear, he has endeared himself to the Canadian population. We ran that clip earlier of the crowd shouting F Trudeau. And here's how the crowd loves Strickland.
I got you, bro. Cheers, man. Thank you.
Split decision. You know, the fight could have gone either way. Some people, including Dana White himself, say that Strickland is actually the guy who probably won the fight. Opinions vary. It's the fight business. And here's the footage again of the crowd chanting. During the fight, this is what the crowd was chanting. This brings back some memories for me of some historic events related to famous boxing matches of the past. Involving do you remember the Great White Hope play written by Howard Sackler? There was the famous fighter Jack Johnson. Johnson was the first African American to hold the World Heavyweight Championship. And this is like way before my time. And anyway, there's a lot of history that goes along with that. But I remember that Johnson was challenged by a white boxer they called the Great White Hope. And it was a turning point in race relations in the United States. Anyway, let me take a break. I'm going to come right back. I've got some other messaging coming in. I'm just going to check on these stories, and I will return right after this.
Feel the vibrations. Our quest continues. The truth is out there. We are Mavericks.
Yeah. So anyway, just reminds me of that whole era, the Jack Johnson, James Jeffries fights, again, before my time. And I'm not a big sports guy, but I just remember some of the history. And that was at the height of the Jim Crow era. Jack Johnson came to prominence. He won the World Heavyweight Championship. And the public, you know, they turned it into, a cultural issue, a political issue at the time, of course. So there's a lot of history there too that maybe we'll dig into another time. I'd have to go back and refresh my memory on all of the information on that. But just the rhetoric coming from Strickland the other day, the anti-Trudeau rant, the question which was put to him about the LGBTQS plus community, which to me was an obvious form of baiting. They were just baiting the guy, and he responded in kind. But just the cultural nature of this, it just reminds me of that era from so long ago. So in about an hour, we're going to be joined by Rhonda Jubinville and maybe one other person who will be a surprise guest of honor on the program tonight as well, to discuss a pretty serious issue for us here locally in my community, but it is an example of the craziness and some might even say corruption, an example of corruption. Not necessarily illegal corruption, but maybe not the maybe it's legal corruption, whatever. Anyway, it's all about money, and the ruling elite class. And we're going to share more information on this story with you tonight because it's an example of, well, this is creating an international embarrassment for this town that I live in, and it's a pretty major embarrassment, I would say. We'll get into it more. We're going to go to the phones here in a few minutes, kind of flip things around because we do have this other interview coming up in a little while, and I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to join in the conversation tonight. With all of this news coming on and me not being here last night, I think that we should give you guys a little bit of access to the airwaves and to the World Wide Web this evening. There is a cybersecurity threat that U.S. government officials are being warned about, government employees working for various government agencies, basically bureaucrats. The top U.S. cyber watchdog agency has issued an emergency directive. They're mandating all federal agencies to protect themselves against a dangerous vulnerability in a software program, which is quite common. It's pretty popular with big companies and government agencies. And they are conducting an investigation into whether China has used this program to spy on the government, to get in and get access to government information. So this program used by these government agencies and corporations is called Avanti Connect Secure. It allows employees to connect remotely to work. And apparently, this is like a serious security vulnerability. It was discovered back in December by this cybersecurity company called Volexity, and it grants hackers significant access to all kinds of government agencies through this back door, whatever it is, this cyber vulnerability that has been uncovered. And this cybersecurity company is saying at least 1,700 known organizations around the world have been hacked with it. 1,700 times. 1,700 organizations, businesses, and government agencies. Can you imagine? Well, you don't have to imagine, it's happening. If with that level of breach, is there anything these hackers don't know? That's the question I have. Who hasn't been hacked? 1,700 organizations. Is there anyone who has anything that's secure at all? Maybe we need to be rethinking this whole World Wide Web internet security thing altogether. So just bringing your attention to that. Isn't that nuts? No wonder everybody's worried about central bank digital currencies. I'm even beginning to have my doubts about the original cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. I think anything digital, anything at all, can be tracked. They say that Bitcoin is secure. If you if you use an exchange, obviously there's going to be a digital trail of what you've been doing. If you're doing straight up end-to-end transactions, wallet to wallet, from one person to another, one business to a person, whatever, maybe it can be hidden that way in much the same way that a cash transaction is handled. I've had like a little tiny bit of Bitcoin. I know basically how it works, but I've used exchanges for my transactions, so obviously it's traceable, and I don't have enough to even worry about. If it was lost, I wouldn't cry. It's like I think I've got $150 in Bitcoin from a few years back that I acquired, and I don't think it's increased in value that much, if at all. Now, remember that guy who was going through that shopping mall, pro-Palestinian supporter, the masked guy, covered up, you could only see his eyes, and he was walking by with a group of protesters in the mall. There are cops standing there, and it isn't clear in the video exactly who he singles out, but he said, "I'll put you 6 feet under." That guy. If you watch the program, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. If you're on Twitter at all, you probably saw that video. Anyway, pretty scary stuff. That guy, in my view, made a death threat in front of cops who did nothing about it. So tonight, and I can't confirm if this is accurate or not, but he's being called out as being, there's a photo circulating online saying that they've unmasked this guy And I'm going to show you these photos. And again, I cannot confirm if this is true. And I'm only showing it to you because it's already making the rounds on social media. So it seems like it might have some credibility, but I can't confirm it. And I only put this out there because it's getting such traction on social media. And I think some people would like to know for sure, one way or another, if this is true. So they're saying this guy is that guy. The people who are sharing these photos. And it appears maybe this photo was taken in the shopping mall. Maybe. Don't know. Remember that guy? This guy here? They're saying that guy is this guy. That guy is this guy. I don't know. Not sure. If anybody knows anything more about that story, let me know in the chat. And here's another photo. Same thing. Saying that now this guy is this guy. See? This guy, Amro Abu Farik, is this guy. This guy is this guy. I don't know how you make the accusation when the guy's wearing a mask. I don't know how you confirm that, but that's the accusation. That's what's going around. And if this Amro Abu Farik wants to come on this program, I'll talk to him. Let's go to his Twitter account, see if we can find this guy. I'm not finding him on social media. I'm going to check the chat. You guys know anything about this? Is this fair? Let's see. Magic Moon says unclear. I don't know. And Canada RV wants to know that if I finally figured digital money. You want to discuss economics, RV? Yeah, okay. He says nope. Yeah, I got a little bit of a handle on it. I know how crypto basically works. Happy to have a further discussion another time about it. I think it's an important topic. And there have been some new developments actually in the last even few days on the crypto front. Some new news that I think would be worth maybe digging into. I'm just weighing how much value there is in the current developments to decide if it's something we should discuss here on the program. So you might get a whole portion of an upcoming show this week on cryptocurrencies and why they're important, or at least how they're impacting the freedom movement. So taking a look at that. Interesting subject matter, to be sure. All right. I think we're about ready to do the phone thing. It is coming up about that time. So let me just dip out of this. We'll run a couple of little transition things here to entertain you while I set up the lines. Don't go away.
Exile. The Knights of Malta. Maverick News. Join us.
The world is watching.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Join the conversation. Call 1-833-975-3733. That's 1-833-975-FREE. Speak up. Speak out. Make your voice heard. Maverick News. Fighting for freedom by defending your right to free speech. Be a Maverick. Join us.
All right, we are ready to rock and roll with the phones, and let's go to our first caller of the night. Go ahead, you are on the air.
Woo-wee, Ricky Waka. Fuck Trudeau. So apparently the young turd was there. He had box seats.
Uh-huh.
That's his son. He had box seats at that fight. Okay, now ringside were costing people in the upwards of $8,000 or more for that fight in Toronto.
Wow.
Okay, and baby turd got box seats. I'd be looking at where that money came from. The kid don't work.
Isn't that amazing?
So, yeah, it is amazing. I seen the fight, me, Paul, and Johnny Boy. We all watched it together, and we're texting all the way through it, right? And having some great laughs. But I've seen that fight round 1, round 2, and round 5 went to Strickland by far. He punished him with a jab, and I know a lot about fighting, folks, okay, and what the jab does to people, and he punished him with the jab. He looked like Thomas the Hitman Hearns, the Detroit Cobra. Okay, and he swung it out, and he punished him, closed his eyes in the first 2 rounds. And how'd you lose? Okay, now when you're a champion, in a sport, okay, it has to be decisively the other way in order for a split decision, okay, to even go to somebody else. You're the champ. The split decision usually goes to the champ, right? So maybe it was woke judges, right? Dana had it called the same way as me.
I saw that in the
so
news.
everybody that's seen the fight, right? Everybody that's seen it was like, wow. Well. But you know what? We have not seen the last of Strickland. That's a fact. So you should have punished him a little bit more.
Yeah, well,
and there'd be no talk about it.
Well, in that news conference, how do you pronounce his name? Duplessis? Is that right?
Yeah.
So I mean, his face, it was all in the news conference. He was just all swollen and just beat right the hell up.
We're calling him the do pussy. Okay, he didn't win that fight, so he took him down twice, and he got ready. It wasn't very good takedowns, okay. And he got right up right away, Strickland, right? It wasn't the ground in town that you see in the UFC. He got pounded. Dupussy's his new name. Okay, Dupussy's his new name. And, the money Dana's going to bring in for having a UFC in South Africa for the first time might be bigger than this one in Toronto. And the one in Toronto, guys, was the highest generating fight of all time for the UFC for Dana White.
Yes. And
So
one
a lot
of,
of
if not
money
the
was
most,
generated.
one of the, if not the most lucrative sporting events in Canadian history, isn't it? I thought that's what I heard.
Yeah, 100%. And he also, I guess he made $1.5 million, Strickland, right? And that's pretty good money.
Yeah.
He's still way underpaid from the boxing industry, right? But $1.5 million is good money. So he's starting to feed the top horses in his stables, right? So, which is good because these guys were making shit before. They're lucky to see $200,000 a fight, a champion. George St. Pierre should have been a multi-millionaire over the UFC, right? And he's not.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think he's seen over $1 million fight in his career, right? So, and you see a lot of UFC fighters skipping over to the boxing, okay, and because the boxing pays a lot more, right? So, the YouTuber there, what's his name, Jake? Fuck, how can I forget that guy's name? Whatever, the YouTuber, the boxer, right? He's taking it to a whole new level where UFCs are crossing in and they're making $10 million a fight.
Do you think
fights.
that the split decision was the result of the politics?
100%. 100%. Now, even though Dana White says, "Oh, it should have went the other way," he called it a Strickland. At the end of the day, Dana White's going to make a lot more money in South Africa than he did in Canada. Watch, because it's the first time ever being in South Africa, right? So,
and do you think that's where you think you'll see a quick rematch, and will it happen in South Africa?
I'd love to see a rematch. Will it happen? I don't know. I don't know the politics of that one, but I do know one thing. Drake, the rapper, lost $700K last night.
I saw that.
He bet on Strickland.
Wow. Different world, right?
So,
for these guys who play with that kind of money.
Oh yeah, it was a great fight. It was a stand-up fight. It was, and I like to see stand-up fights. I don't like the grounding and pounding and the choking and all that crap. You're gonna fight like a man. Okay. Yeah, you could throw some boots, but get the fisticuffs going, and that's what they did, right? I give Duplessis credit for standing there because I think he would have been the better wrestler of them both, right? So, but he couldn't get the takedowns and keep the takedowns, right? So that's the way I seen it, and it was a good fight.
Well, Duplessis said that he stood there for the first 2 rounds and let Strickland kind of fight his fight, and then tried to use what he learned from that and then change the strategy and fight more his style for the rest of the fight. Do you think that was what actually took place?
Hell no. What I seen was, and at the end of the fight, if you look at the faces, the pussy looked like Rocky 12.
That's right.
I thought he was going to call for Adrian.
I agree.
Okay, yeah. I thought he was going to call for Adrian in the middle of the ring, right? It was fixed. Something happened there, and I don't like what I seen. That's for sure. Because I thought out of the most fairest of them all was the UFC, right? But when it's in the hands of judges, who knows where it's going to go, right? And the same thing with football. I'm a huge football fan. Today, the Lions, check the list. They're going to, they're in the top 4 teams. And when again, they're in the Super Bowl. Never in my life have I seen the Lions go this far. And I'm 53 years old, right? But there's a lot of fixing when it comes in with referees. Referees and judges and all that, right? Money's the root of all evil, Rick. And people want to get paid the ski mask way. If I was a judge or a ref, somebody came to me under the table and said, "Hey, make sure whatever happens, here's $1.5 million or something." Yeah, you could take my career. I'll take the $1.5 million. Right? That's me. I'm honest. Right? So a lot of people out there, money's the corruption, the evil corrupts everybody. And as for cybersecurity, nothing's sacred and nothing's secure, folks. Period. Your Bitcoin, all that crap. Every day I'm hearing somebody getting ripped off for Bitcoin or cryptocurrency.
Yep.
Right. So that's why I'm not involved in the crypto. Yeah, I got $100 in Dogecoin. I haven't looked at it in 2 years. dog coin or whatever it is. I don't know if it's up or down. I could care less, right?
Yeah.
And I use crypto.com and I'm just letting it, whatever, let it go, right? But and it's not enough to cry over. It's not going to hurt me at all. But I don't believe in the cryptocurrency. It's fake money. It's right. It's fake money.
It's not backed up by anything other than just people deciding to use it. So if it crashes, it's going to crash hard.
It's going to crash hard. A lot of people are going to lose. Right. It sort of reminds me of, I watched a show on Netflix the other day, a true story about GameStop. Okay. And if you know anything about the stocks and shit like that, GameStop was nothing. Okay. And a couple of people on Reddit got it big, very big. And a lot of people made a lot of money on GameStop. So it kind of reminds me of cryptocurrency GameStop. You're betting on, it's a bet. That's all it is. You're betting with your money. Right. So, and some people lost on GameStop, a lot of people, hedge funders. Right. And it was an interesting story. That's for sure.
Yeah. Some people finally figured out how to kind of game the system the way that the bigger players do, but did it sort of as if I remember the story correctly, it was like people online working sort of in sync to manipulate the prices, right?
Right. And that'll never happen again. You know why?
Yeah.
Because these big Wall Street hedge funders and shit are now on Reddit and they're on Discord and they're on everything else. So that you can't manipulate a stock.
Mm-hmm.
They're on top of it.
Yeah.
Right. So you'll probably never see another thing happen like Reddit, but it was a chance for people to take down big bank. And they did.
Yeah, and in the process, we kind of exposed the underbelly of the stock market and the way that, the people with big money actually manipulate things and control it.
Right. In the one handling the funds for the GameStop, okay, they were part of the not Merrill Lynch, one of them anyways, Goldman Sachs or whatever, right? That were controlling the money that tried putting a stop to the trades. It's illegal what they did, and it was pretty funny to see people lose their shirts up high, right? And a lot of people lost their shirts, in their pants.
That's right,
in their underwear.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, as for the tunnels and those tunnels, those are nice tunnels,
aren't they? Well built,
very nice. They were painted walls and everything.
Man,
kind of look like condos.
Yeah, if people would put the same amount of effort into just building a better life for people instead of building bombs and underground tunnels and tanks and fighter jets and whatever, the whole world would be a whole lot better off. But it's just, I don't know, the dark side of humanity.
Well, you can't. Well, we are on the dark side of humanity, especially in Canada. Okay, when I went grocery shopping the other day, my mortgage is only like $600 a month, by the way. Then taxes on top. I pay about almost $800 a month, which is nothing. Okay, but when my grocery bill just for the 1 week came up to $600, Houston, we have a problem. Okay, we have a big problem, and I feel sorry for people on fixed incomes because if you're not eating right, you're not right. You're not right physically or mentally.
Leo, you have hit the nail right on the head. That is going to be the issue, I think, heading into these next elections in Canada and the US, because it's about people not being able to afford houses, not having access to housing. It's about the affordability of living, food. It's off the chart. Unprecedented inflation.
It is it is. And you know what? It's, you want to bring people into this country from far away. Okay. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's expensive just to drive a car.
Yep.
Okay. The initial cost of the car, the insurance, the gasoline is almost the same price as a mortgage for some people.
Reality is finally beginning to take hold here, because you saw the reaction from the crowd at the UFC event, the F Trudeau chant. You're seeing the Premier of Quebec now appealing to Justin Trudeau, asking him to put the brakes on immigration because they've reached the breaking point in that province. You're seeing the province of Ontario taking steps to deal with the cracks in the healthcare system, which is disintegrating under the pressure of all the immigration and the funding challenges there. And the systemic challenges as well. It goes on and on. You're seeing it at the grocery store. People can't afford houses. It is, it's just undeniable now. And even with the push for these electric vehicles, we just did this program a couple of nights ago. We had the tow truck driver calling in talking about how they're not working, charging stations not working, billions and billions and billions of dollars being dumped in. I'm seeing now even mainstream media picking up on these stories, including the EV push, which is entirely government driven. And now they're finally beginning to acknowledge that this isn't really working the way that the government told us that it would. And it's all of these issues combined that I think are going to come to a head and ultimately result in Trudeau being gonzo, and probably Biden too.
Well, and you're also missing the point. It goes hand in hand also with homelessness and drug addiction.
Yeah.
Okay, when you beat people to a pulp, okay, and they have no hope at all, where do they lead to? The bottle, the drugs. Okay, and next thing you know, you're homeless because you can't make ends meet, right? So
yes, sir.
We're headed down a strange path, that's for sure. And when I remember Mr. Ford actually saying in the beginning of the pandemic, if there's going to be any price gouging, people will be convicted and prosecuted or convicted and prosecuted or whatever, however it works, right? I haven't seen once. Now you got a government that could seize people's bank accounts and tell businesses how to act, this and that. We're being forced, okay, to pay these high prices on food.
Yeah,
that's a humanitarian crisis for some.
Yeah, it certainly is. Especially people on fixed incomes, low incomes, seniors, people who social assistance, disability checks.
When they sit there and brag. Because they got their books opened, the CEOs of Loblaws and the rest of these cunts out there, right? And they're making billions of dollars a year, and they're bragging about it. Okay, we made record profits this year. Every year, it's record profits.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Ultimately, it comes down
wrong.
to government policies, and I would say even government corruption, which we're going to talk about shortly here on the program too. In a slightly different way, but you're going to want to listen to this. And then you're seeing Trudeau's son sitting in a box seat for who knows how much that cost. This is not right.
It's not right. And I think we discussed it once before. You got these big box stores that are making billions of dollars in profit, but the government's still giving bailouts for air conditioners and central air and heat pumps,
like the
and you name it.
Yep. And remember, Loblaws, the grocery store chain, received all that government money for refrigeration units at all their stores. So they're subsidizing Loblaws to put in refrigeration for their store. Like
100% wrong.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's going on. Okay, there's people are getting paid under the table, right through the back door.
Yeah.
So, but I have to go. My dog's got to go outside, Mr. Rick. And but great talking to you guys. Great on Rumble. Tommy Temper is running you live too, eh?
Yeah, somebody sent me that, so that's cool. That doesn't bother me at all. That's great. Just get the message out there. Share.
Yeah, and I was reading some of the comments over in Tommy Tempers, and people were going, "Who is this guy? I like this show, this stuff." Right? So I was giving them the info out there. But we'll put the link up for you, right? Tommy's all about that, eh?
Excellent. Yeah, I don't know him, but that's fine. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy.
Thank you for calling in, my friend. I always appreciate your input. And we're going to move on to John. Okay, here we go. Moving on here. And here's the other man. Hey, John, how you doing, man?
Be careful with that weather coming. It's supposed to be a brutal one.
What are you talking about?
A lot of wet snow.
You have snow coming?
Yeah, for next week.
Oh.
Where's the volume here? There.
Yeah, you have some echo happening.
There we go. There we go. Sorry, man. Yeah, I gonna just stay grounded. I'm not going anywhere. I don't know.
What
Driveway,
areas
hopefully
are
oh,
where are they predicting the severe weather for, John, this coming week?
I don't know. In Toronto here, I know we're getting whammed starting tomorrow for about 4 days. It's going to be a lot of wet, heavy snow.
Okay.
It's heart attack stuff. My blower doesn't work good in the wet snow. It keeps getting jammed. It's a monster. It's a beast I got. You should see this blower I got. It's a beast. It's the thing is just unbelievable. But wet snow, it keeps. I always go out early in the morning when it's still cold out, because if you go in the afternoon, you ain't shoveling it. You have to shovel it. I'm not shoveling that wet snow. I don't shovel wet snow. No way. I got a big. It's a 3-car wide driveway, man. It's like 6-9 cars. It's a monster. It's a big job. You really should get a truck, but they don't come. You know, they want contracts. These plows. They will. And I found one guy last year, and he wanted $60 or something. I said, okay, well, come and do it. He never showed up. I did it myself. You know, fuck, these guys take so long. Anyhow, that fight last night, I've seen every boxing movie ever made. And if you watch some of the old ones, they're real. And they're rigged. They rigged these fights. Okay? And I'm telling you, Strickland, he made over $2 million yesterday, because they paid him off for throwing the fight, because,
you really think that happened? Yeah. You think he threw the fight?
A lot of my friends had big money on Strickland. And I'm pretty sure everybody bet Strickland yesterday. So what do you think? The bookies are going to cough up $10 million? Are you crazy? In the States and Canada and the world, everybody had Strickland. Look at that African guy. You ever see him being interviewed? Oh, the guy's got an IQ of probably 1. Okay, the guy's made to take beatings. That guy took a beating yesterday. Okay, that guy took a beating. Me, I don't know how he survived. He took a beating. That Strickland guy, man, that guy was throwing his right hand. That was the killer, and he never used it much. He waited, and when he waited, he was going after his eye, his top right eye there, and he kept pounding him with that left hand, and it was like a boulder, I'm surprised he didn't have a concussion, but I don't know. But I tell you, fights are rigged. When there's a lot of money on it, the bookies are not going to lose $10 million or whatever. They're not going to lose that kind of money. So, that's my run on it.
I'll tell you, if that could be proven, that would be one of the biggest scandals in sports history.
You're dealing with the mob, man. They're worse than there's other guys that. The Freemasons, they're worse than those people. The Freemasons, the mob is way worse than that, man. A lot of money. Anyhow,
I started to watch a documentary on the Freemasons today. I have to finish that, but anyway, that's another story.
Yeah, Amnesty turned me on to them, and I've been watching them. A lot. I'm starting to figure it out now, and all these, if you want to be wealthy, you want to be rich, famous, you got to become a Freemason. And you know where it started? In Israel, the Jews.
Oh, John. Let's just change the subject. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole tonight.
I know, but Scotland is like the headquarters, and well, if you watch it, just follow through, you'll figure it out.
I'm aware of what the Freemason story is. Anyway, let's just move on.
Yeah,
Talk about other
let's
stuff.
go on. I don't want to. Yeah, sure. What else do we got? Those tunnels. You know, in Washington, do you know how many tunnels are in Washington? I was watching a documentary on all the tunnels in Washington. They got tunnels going everywhere in Washington.
Yeah.
All right, KC got a touchdown. I got a lot of money writing on KC today. Swifty, look at her go. She's hugging everybody. But anyways, in Washington, they got tunnels we got tunnels in Toronto that nobody's ever heard of. There's a lot of abandoned TTC tunnels. You know, they built all these TTC tunnels that they never used, and they're all abandoned. They use them to make movies now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Oh yeah, they're everywhere in the world you'll find tunnels. A lot of tunnels.
Well, yeah, but these kind of tunnels are just built for military strategic purposes. That's why these tunnels were constructed. These are not like subway tunnels or tunnels to connect, government buildings. Exactly. This is different.
You know, like a man with hair. I'm asking her. So like Sherry guy. You know, there's I was watching Scott Ritter, and he was saying that there's tunnels. Those tunnels, they go right into Tel Aviv, all in Israel, all over the place. He says they just pop out, and then they go back in the tunnel, go back to Gaza. Oh yeah, they go into those tunnels. They're not just in Gaza. They go everywhere. They go everywhere, Rick.
Yes, they do.
You'd be surprised that. Yeah, there's. Yeah, it's a pretty.
What do you think it would take
amazing,
to construct this maze of tunnels that go everywhere like that? What would that involve?
Well, when I worked for TTC, they had these core boring machines that you don't even know. They can go right under your house, tunnel. You know, you probably feel a little shake here and there, but they go right under your house. TTC had three of these boring machines, and they paid a lot of money for these things. And you know what? They stopped. They said, we're going to stop making tunnels because it's too expensive. And they sold them to Russia. Russia, they have a massive subway system, way bigger than anywhere in Canada. The subway system in Russia is something to see, man. And they bought our old tunnel boring machines for like next to nothing, and they're boring all these tunnels for subways. They're smart. And now they got an amazing subway system, and we got what? You know, we're so behind the world. Like we should be way ahead of everybody, but it's all these guys like Trudeau. You know, they don't want to spend money on planes, on tunnels, on they rather just give free money away to everybody, right?
So you think we need more tunnels here in Canada? What do we need tunnels for here?
Goddamn right we do.
What do we need them for?
Sure
I don't know. Why?
Subways.
Oh, subways.
That's the way to go. You ever, I don't know, your area where you live, you got it easy out there. You can, 5 o'clock, you can go out to the grocery store, no traffic. Here, you can't go anywhere at 5 o'clock. It's just bumper to bumper.
That's right. That's why I don't live there in Toronto. No, thank
especially
you.
Downtown.
Not for me.
Especially downtown.
No, terrible place. I don't like it there. Too much traffic.
Yeah. But Russia built an amazing subway system with our boring machines.
Well, if they get these flying cars going, that would solve a lot. Then you don't even need infrastructure. You just fly at different levels and create air lanes, and you don't have to build anything. No roads.
I was watching a show yesterday. Where's that place? No, South Korea. South Korea. They have flying taxis now.
Yeah.
I was watching it, and I'm going,
Wow.
and you know what they're doing? They're putting all these flying pads on top of buildings.
That's right.
Like, you know, you go on top of an office building.
I
top
did
of
like
an
a whole show like a couple months ago about it.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
They've got to figure it out. Hyundai. That's the company to watch, man.
They're doing it right
I'm
now.
telling you. Yeah, they're doing it right now already. Like I'm telling you, that's the company to watch. And it's basically flying taxis. And it's like short hop airlines is what it becomes. And then you don't need to build roads, no subways, no infrastructure other than heliports. And you go from place to place to place. I mean, you could do away with most of the roads because you can just fly from one place to another and then just have sections where people would just, move around locally and then go up to the heliport and fly to another city, be there in a few minutes instead of like an hour. I think it's kind of a cool thing in a lot of ways. I'm not opposed to that at all. It solves a lot of the problems that we have with, all the money that's spent to build highways and, infrastructure like that and subways or underground tunnels for cars. It would ease the burden, the traffic burden. I think the flying car thing could be kind of a cool thing, and they don't necessarily have to be electric either. They could be gasoline powered if this electrification isn't something that is viable in the long run. And I think we're seeing in Canada that is actually the case, that these cars are not really working in the cold.
No, these electric cars, there was an article and I was reading in the paper that nobody wants to buy an electric car unless it's hybrid, gas electric.
Yep, that's right.
That's the only, that's the way they should go. Because electric cars are, I was buying lottery tickets the other day at the gas station, and there's a lineup behind me. Everybody's impatient, right? And I said, "You guys are lucky you don't drive electric cars." The one guy laughed. He goes, "Yeah, right." I'm gonna buy an electric car.
Yeah,
I'm there for I've got a stack of tickets to cash in and to buy, and I'm taking their time, and they're going, "Oh, come on." Yeah, well, you probably have it in your nick. People are gambling more, Rick. I don't know if you go when you fill up. Aren't the gas stations full of people buying lottery tickets?
Yes.
In your neck of the woods, or no?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. People are gambling like crazy. Today I went and bought some. The guy had a stack of 649 or whatever. I go, holy shit! This guy must spend $100 a day on these, or more. I don't know how much he spent buying these lotto tickets. And you never, winning on a lotto ticket's like winning on a, it's just it's a dream. That's all it is.
I don't buy lotto tickets. Honestly, it drives me crazy when I'm at a store or whatever, and somebody's buying lottery tickets in front of me, and it's taking forever, and I'm like, go to the casino. It's like, just go over there to gamble. But anyway, that's just me. I just stand there and just wait.
Well, I bought one the other day. I lost. I didn't even get one number. I was at Walmart to cash out, and I seen a lotto ticket on the floor.
Yeah.
So I went to pick it up, and this lady went for it too. And I said, "No, this is mine." I dropped it accidentally, so she backed away, and I got it. And I looked at the date. So I put it in my pocket, and I looked at it. I go, "Oh fuck, it's yesterday's date." I thought it was today's. I checked it. It was a loser. So I said, "Replay." Maybe you'll win. It was $3. I lost on it. 649. Not even one number. That's why I don't buy lotto tickets, Rick. It's disappointing when you don't even get one number.
Yeah, me either. I don't play them at all.
I think
I don't gamble.
I think that's rigged also.
Oh,
back 20 years ago, they used to have these ball machines for the lotto. Every Friday night they would have a draw on the ball machine.
Lotto 649, I think it was. They do that, and then it was on. Yeah, they used to run that on our station, and they would have the draw right around the newscast time.
Yeah, and people were saying that it was rigged. The balls, they put different weights on them so they pop up.
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
Now they don't even have that. It's all done. You don't know if the numbers are rigged or not.
Yeah.
Right? I don't trust nobody. Nobody. Okay. And
Yeah.
everything to me, everything. Everybody's out to get you. You know, you're sitting there with your dog bone underwear, you know, and everybody's coming to get you. You know.
Mhm.
That's the way it is today. You got to be careful today. This thieving going on. Bitcoin. Hey, another thing. Bitcoin. My friend's boss, he bought $7,000 worth of Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
And he told me he went to cash out, and they wouldn't give him 7,000. They would only give him 5 if he wanted to get cash out.
Why?
That's
Because
what he told me.
who's they? Was he's on like crypto? Like I don't understand. Like the value is the value. So when you convert, don't you just get what the market value is, or the value established on whatever currency exchange is there? So whatever the agreement is, they agreed
He's
upon
not lying to
value.
me.
Yeah.
He's not lying to me. I said to him, "Where'd you buy it?" He goes, "I bought it off a friend who's in that business." And I said, "Well, why wouldn't he give you the value?" Well, he says, "If I cash out, he only give me $5,000 to cash out." So I guess he wants his cut. I don't know.
That doesn't sound right to me. It sounds like he's maybe dealing with somebody who's not going to give him the full values. What it sounds like.
And I read about a lot of scams. People beware that people trying to sell Bitcoin online and all kinds of places, and it's a scam. You never see your Bitcoin money. You know,
Well,
they're gone.
There are exchanges for Bitcoin, right? So you can convert your Bitcoin. Like that is the most established crypto, but there are a lot of other coins that are coming online, and they're pretty shaky. I don't know. Like that's why maybe we'll talk more about it this coming week. And in fact, I think I've got a guest who's a cryptocurrency expert, another new person that we can bring online maybe this week to discuss all of this stuff. So they wrote a book, and hopefully we'll get that person on this week to talk about it. So yeah.
Bitcoin is used for crime. That's where I see it used a lot, for crime. Right? They hack someone's server and they say, "Oh, send us so much Bitcoin and we'll open up your server back again." You know, you see all kinds. "Oh, we kidnap your daughter. We want Bitcoin," or you know, you never see her again. Stuff like that. There's that guy who worked for Trump. Anthony.
Steve Bannon, you mean?
I forget. He worked for
Steve Bannon.
No,
Bannon.
He worked for Trump. He worked for Donald. No, he worked for Donald Trump. Anthony Sarducci or something. I think it sounds like he's in the mob. I don't know.
Father Guido Sarducci from Saturday Night Live. I thought it's Guido Sarducci.
Anthony. He worked for Trump, and Trump let him go, and then he turned against Trump, and he hates Trump. And
that guy. He was like the media guy for like 2 days or something.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
Anyways, you know what he's doing now? Now he's
Anthony Scaramucci. Anthony Scaramucci. He's got the fired about Trumpster.
He's into Bitcoin now, and you'd see him on CNBC once a week. You know, bragging how much money he's making, and to buy Bitcoin off him, he's one of those guys that a fund manager on Bitcoin, eh? And and then Bitcoin, he was up a lot of money, and then all of a sudden Bitcoin just crashed, and he was down like almost, and you didn't see him on there anymore. Now he's coming back down again because Bitcoin is coming back up.
As I recall, he
Oh, man,
they brought him online to be the media guy, and he seemed like he was
That's right.
pretty slick, but it became pretty clear pretty quickly that he was a dick.
Yeah.
He's a professional
yeah,
dick.
Yeah. He still is.
Yeah.
But he's funny. He's funny. I laugh at him every time I see him, like I wouldn't buy a Bitcoin off of him.
Oh, and then there was that other guy. What's his name? Michael Avenatti. He was on the Democrat side, and they were promoting him for a while as presidential material. And then he ended up in court, and he got in a lot of trouble. I think he went to jail. He was famous for about 2 minutes. I don't even think he got his full 15 of fame. Do you remember that guy? And he's a race car driver.
Yeah, I heard of him, but I can't picture him in my head right now.
Yeah,
but I've heard of his name.
I'll get you a picture of that guy, Michael Avenatti. Yeah, there he is. They thought this was going to be, he was, there he is right there. Yeah, I think he's in jail. He went to jail.
Same with Trump's lawyer that turned against him, eh?
Yeah.
Is that in there?
Yeah.
No, it's Anthony
Cohen.
Sarducci got them.
Yeah, Michael Cohen.
Oh yeah. No, it's Anthony
that?
Sarducci. I don't. Oh man, hit play. Hang on a sec. This thing froze. There you go.
That's Michael Avenatti. But then, of course, and do you remember?
Oh, there we go. Oh yeah. I remember that. He's on the Business Channel too. This guy.
I know.
And he also does on CNBC. He does all the predictions. Like the inflation rate, and everybody runs this guy down. Like he argues with everybody.
See, now this guy here, Father Guido Sarducci. Now that's a guy you can trust. Now, if you want financial advice, you're probably better off taking it from Father Guido Sarducci than
that guy seems like he was a riot. I used to watch him. He's funny, that guy.
Yeah. Listen, John, I think an important caller coming in here.
Lawyer.
What's that?
Yes, sir.
So
Trump's lawyer. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
One other thing.
Yeah.
Look into it. I'm hearing through the grapevines and reading. Michelle or Michael Obama is going to run for president. You hear about that?
I've
Michelle
heard that
Obama?
rumor for a while, so I'll believe it when I see
Michael.
it. But anything could happen. Now, me personally, I'm all for Father Guido Sarducci for president.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to have to watch some reruns. All right, man. Have a good night.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, and then we got an important caller coming up next. Hang on.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Okay, I think I lost my contact here, so I think I have to reestablish my call here. So hang on a second. I gotta dial back into the phone system so we don't lose our caller. I think it's still on the line, so just bear with me. When I took the wrong window down. I thought I took down Father Guido Sarducci, but I didn't. I took down the wrong thing. So hang on just a moment. I'll be right back. I made a mistake.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so I'm still screwing this up. It's so hard to do this sometimes when I'm all by myself, trying to do all this producing and connecting and clicking and adding this window to that window and calling up the phone system. Not complaining, just saying, bear with me. I'm doing my best here. Here we go. I think maybe we lost our caller. And we're reconnected, I think, now. But I don't think the caller is there. So if you're there watching, you can call back in and I will get you up right away. I'll leave the phone lines open for a couple more minutes here. And hopefully we get reconnected with the caller who I think we lost. So I apologize for that. Don't be shy. Call back in. 1-833-975-3733. 1-833-975-3733. And yep, I think we got him back. So let me just get this up on the screen. Hang on, I have to take this thingy down here. See, one wrong click, and then you have to do 100 other clicks. There we go. And we're up and over here, and click over there. And I think we have Peace Man on the line. How are you tonight, my friend?
Hi, Rick. Just getting ready for tomorrow, and I just thought I'd come on and bring some awareness to the trial, if you don't mind.
Of course, no problem. So you're going to court. Peace Man, of course, for those of you who maybe aren't aware, was at the convoy, the big trucker freedom convoy in Ottawa, and stood in basically one place through for the duration for peace. And Dana, why don't you just introduce yourself and explain why you're here tonight?
Okay, thank you, Rick. First of all, I had nothing to do with any convoy. I seen Canadians coming out of their home, and I wanted to go to Ottawa in personal, peaceful protest.
Yep.
And that's exactly what I did. I did not know any organizers. I did not know anybody when I got there, except for a few friends that lived in Ottawa. My intention was to go there and peacefully protest on Parliament Hill, standing in total non-movement with a flag and a peace sign. Simple as that. After a few days, I seen that the media eating up the clowns in front of the trucks. So I moved off of Parliament Hill and I went and stood on a yellow line for 23 more days, 10 hours a day. After the 10 hours each day, I walked the entire perimeter in the evening, and I talked to Canadians and people from all over the world. While I stood there, I had 2 head cameras on and recorded over 45 hours. Nobody has seen any of that footage yet. I go to trial tomorrow, and I'm not really supposed to talk about specifics tonight. But it has been 2 years, and in any of their disclosure, there is no arresting officers in my case. So I put a charter challenge arguing that this arrest, search, seizure, detainment is all illegal. If the challenge goes through, they will not be allowed to enter any evidence. Not that there's a lot of evidence on me doing anything wrong, unless being scared by police beating people in front of me was wrong.
Mm-hmm. So you go to court tomorrow, and do you have a decent lawyer representing you?
I go to trial tomorrow for 4 days, and it could be longer depending.
Mm-hmm.
And what a lot Canadians and people around the world have seen the ad from JCCF that they are representing me. And even today, you can go to their page right now, and you can see there's still a donate button on their ad that they have. But I hate to say and tell the truth to everybody is JCCF only ever paid $3,000 towards my defense and cut their support with the excuse that they could not afford to pay private lawyers. But you see, when I applied for their help, they agreed and signed an 8-page retainer saying that they understood the estimate of $25,000 and agreed to pay that amount. It's a very little amount compared to many of the others out there. And to only pay $3,000 was a slap in my face. So I have had to hold my own fundraisers with zero money to do that, and relied on the Freedom Family and the Freedom Movement and the Freedom Media.
Mm-hmm.
But for 2 years, I'm sorry, but unless I push and push and push, nothing. Lots out there for others. So I'm sorry if that hurts anybody's feelings, but you've been lied to, and it has not helped me. So yes, I have kept the same lawyer, and I've kept her to her professional standards on sticking to that contract that we signed. They tried to get me to sign 2 other contracts, but that means that they would have owned my story. And that what that means is if I win and I sue, or somebody makes a movie or anything about the incident, they get the money back. So people donate to help people, mm-hmm. and they take that money and they turn it into income from the people that they're helping. So I don't think it's fair. And I have helped many, many in this movement. So I ask you, if you are in Ottawa, to show up. I have a poster there, Rick, on my Peaceman Facebook page that shows where you can donate to my lawyer directly. I would appreciate if you showed that.
Sure. What is the website URL? Website address?
I can put it in the chat here.
Yep.
Nobody else in there. There's only one viewer, and it's me on X.
Oh, you're over on Twitter?
I'm watching you on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the chat thing doesn't really work over there properly.
The chat in your YouTube isn't very nice. I'm sorry, Rick, but it doesn't get to any of the root causes and problems. I'm trying to click this link here, but let me see if
Is
I
it
have one on X here.
peaceman.ca or like what? Just tell me what the website is and I'll find it.
Oh, okay. Well, just Peaceman here on it's a Facebook because I don't pay for X, so I can only write very little bit.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, I'm having trouble finding, any messages coming in from you there on.
Okay, I'll look on your YouTube and I'll send it in there, but I'm not going to be in that chat long.
No problem. Yeah, if you put it in there, I'll see it, and we'll get you up. Let people know where they can find more information or help you or do whatever people want to do. So, just looking in the chat here. There it is. I see it. Okay.
Michael, I see your question. Is Peaceman's trial live streamed? No. I have been reaching out, not just me, but many people, supporters of mine, have been reaching out to all media, for and against. Not one will cover this trial. And we've screenshotted everything that we asked.
So who you've asked who to cover it, and nobody's help going to cover this?
Not one media, not one influencer, nobody. The social fearing is outrageous. The hypocrisy is outrageous.
Huh. So even people within the freedom circles are not giving you any coverage?
Yeah, I sent you emails as well.
Yeah,
Rick.
yeah, I did respond.
And many, I've been in your chat like almost every day.
Oh, I don't honestly, I don't really read the chats a lot because I'm too busy trying to think and talk and click buttons and stuff. I dip in there once in a while, but I haven't noticed you in there. And I've got multiple streams, so I can't look at them all at the same time on many, many, many different channels. But yeah, I did respond to the emails, and that's why I thought you were calling in tonight, actually, because I told you to phone me. So I'm glad you did, and happy to have you on the program.
We've always been pretty straightforward, Rick.
Yeah.
I've never pulled your chain.
Yeah.
And, I may be blunt sometimes, but right now we live in blunt times.
Yeah, no problem. So, happy to let people know what's going on here.
Did you get the link?
Yeah, I've got it up on the screen, actually. And I actually just dipped out of the stupid. Hang on. I think I may have just. No, I'm still there. Okay, everything's fine. I thought I disconnected myself. Yeah, it's up on the screen right now, Dana.
No, all I see is my.
I've got
here up on the screen.
Yeah, I clicked on your chat with your Facebook link, right? Facebook.com/peaceman.7000311. So anybody, it's been up there for a while now since you put it up.
You see the gold poster with the painting of me? Like that's my. I would really like to show that.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it, but I'm not seeing the. I see a Canada Unity thing here. I'm trying to find. Trying to find you on Facebook. Hang on, I'll find you. I'm still searching here for you.
I'll find. Here's the link for Twitter.
Okay.
I'm not going to get in trouble for posting a link in your thing here. That's why I never do that. But there you go. There's the Twitter, and that has the poster.
Unbelievable how many Peace Man Facebook pages there are that are not you. Dozens of them. I had no idea as I'm trying to find you on Facebook.
Well, we have a lot of people out there trying to persuade you not to listen to me. And they're you know yourself. They're very good at the hacking.
Yeah. So let me just see. Did you put a link to Twitter up there? I don't see it in the chat.
I put a link to my Peaceman Facebook and my Peaceman Twitter, or Dana Lee Twitter, but it has the poster if you go to that link.
Okay, I'm just looking in the chat here in YouTube to find the link. I'm not seeing it.
In the YouTube, you're not seeing my two posts?
No, I've got
just
all I'm seeing is the Facebook link that you put up that I've got on the screen right now. I don't see anything else from you in the chat.
Well,
and
it's right after Molto 13. Ask Trudeau for advice on our tax money.
Molto 13.
Oh, it's probably because it's a link. It's a web page, and your chat blocks posting web pages. I see it, but you guys may not see it. So
no, I don't
think
think
I'll just
I don't know.
see you.
Like I just
email Ouir.
You can email me. Yeah, that's fine. That's cool. But just keep talking and tell folks what we're up against here and what you're up against and what's going to happen.
Yeah, I got some things to say. Just nice things. I just I'm going to reply to our last email here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm happy to raise the awareness. And of course, you're going to court tomorrow. Trial begins 4 days.
Yes, it starts at 10 a.m. courtroom 1. I am told that there's going to be quite the amount of people there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping so, because that shows the courts, and that's what I've been trying to do. It's not for me to show the courts that there's support for a man that never broke a law. And, one of the reasons why we went there, or why I went there, was to prove that it didn't matter who you were, man, woman, or child, or what you did, or how peaceful or lawful you were still going to be met by violence and illegal action. And I proved that.
Mm-hmm.
The selective law that is happening on our streets, if it's happening on our streets, is it happening in our government buildings? And outside of my court case, that's what I try to focus on, is the root causes to these massive changes and destabilization of our country. I am not stupid, like a few people like to say a lot. I do hard documentation. I've sent almost all the media the documentation on ATIP requests into the legal validity and path of the federal mandate.
Mm-hmm.
That ATIP request is now under investigation from the OIC, Office of the Information Commissioner, into the DOJ for breaking the ATIP Act and not answering me.
Okay.
It's very, very important. They put an 1,875-day extension. So that means that they don't have to provide any paperwork for 5 years. The first time in Canadian history, and the only Canadian in history to have an extension reversed without going to any courts or anything, is me. And I'm not allowed to say because it's all ego, right? But no, it's real hard work. Hundreds and hundreds of emails and clarifications and lots of things. So before anybody goes out protesting, you should be using the tools that the government has in place to hold accountability. In 2022, there was a total of 1,700 and I think it's 33. Don't quote me on the exact number, but it's very close to that. APIP requests in the middle of a pandemic. The DOJ has told me that not one media, lawyer, parliamentarian, investigator, police, not one has requested the information like I have to the DOJ on the legal validity of these mandates. So if people don't think it's important, the problem today is that when somebody does the hard work, people are socially feared because of friendships and everything else not to look at that work. And this upsets me because we all went there together. What I felt in Ottawa was a togetherness like I had never felt before in my life. So what happened? That's my question. What happened, people? Because I helped people for years.
Well, there's a lot of division within the, whatever's left of the movement. And
trust me, it's very purposeful. It's
yeah.
very, very targeted and purposeful. And I'm not fooled. And I don't hold, I have successfully sued Microsoft, Money Mart. I have successfully done a lot of things. I have awards from billion-dollar corporations for my teaching ability. But all of a sudden, my word, since I became a whistleblower in 2014, my word means nothing anymore. And at the beginning of this, where Canadians stood up, my word was looked at like, wow, this guy knows what he's talking about, until somebody said I didn't. And then they just don't, they have nonsense like this guy that talks about Malta and whatever in your chats. Pure garbage. Doesn't help anybody.
Well, listen, Dana, I have another guest waiting in the wings for a scheduled interview. I kind of wish you'd called in a little bit earlier so we could continue the conversation longer. But I'll throw it over to you for some final comments to just highlight the most important aspects of this for people as you prepare to go to trial tomorrow. Okay, so the floor is yours for a wrap up.
Okay, well, wrap up is that I went to help my country, and there was never any dirt on me. Security cleared 27 years, and I am fighting for you. So take that as it is, but I've done my homework. And I do have to go anyways because I'm doing a show on Twitter in about 5 minutes.
Okay. Well,
So
you're always welcome here. You are always welcome here.
Doesn't feel like it when I show into that chat. It doesn't matter what I say, it gets attacked just like everywhere else. So
well, not with me, sir. So you know that.
I
so
know
you just contact
me.
me, and you always have access here. 100%.
Okay. Well, thank you, Rick, and thank you for your time. I didn't see the poster come up, just that all those pictures. But I'm hoping that you'll show the poster at least once tonight.
Well, yeah, if I can find it, I certainly will. If you can send me a direct link to that by email, just copy and paste the URL, send it to me, and I'd be happy to put it up on the screen. I'm checking the email. This is what I've got right now on your Twitter account from what was emailed to me. And I've got that URL on the screen as well, unless I'm missing something here, but that's your Twitter.
Well, if you scroll on my Twitter, there's a poster that shows my lawyer thing. You can't miss it. It's like not even that far.
Okay, well, I can pull out of that. Just scroll down. There's that and that. Like I've got your whole Twitter feed on my screen right now. I don't know if you're looking or if you can see it. I'm scrolling down. Where is it so I can show people?
I'm going to repost it and put it at the top.
Okay, I'll keep your Twitter page open, and when that gets posted, hopefully I'll see that, and I'd be happy to put it up. And yeah, I mean, give me a call tomorrow. Just message me through the day. We'll put you on the show throughout the trial if you want. Happy to provide the coverage, whatever is appropriate.
Court reporters and stuff like all the court reporters and stuff like that have told me that none of them are going to cover it. So,
well, I'd be happy to interview you at the end of each day. So I'm not in Ottawa, obviously, so I can't get up there, but I'm happy to give you some exposure and some time to tell your story here. That's what the platform is for. So can we reconvene tomorrow? Tomorrow, you want to contact me again tomorrow night, and we'll do this again?
Sounds good. Oh, I see you scrolling on my page now. It's probably because there's a little bit of a delay. Keep going down.
Yeah.
And there's a poster that shows me standing, and it's with gold writing.
Gold writing. I see white.
Well,
scrolling. Where is it?
And there's a painting of me standing in peace on the poster.
In gold writing.
I guess I'll have to pin it to the top, I guess, here. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm very sorry, Dana. I do not see it as I scroll.
Well, actually, your scrolling is stopping just before, and it's not. I see what's happening here. Okay. I'm going to pin this to the top.
Okay.
Okay.
It's at the top now?
It is.
Okay. I'm going to refresh the page and hopefully it comes
there.
up.
You just scrolled past it. I just seen it, but there it is. That picture, that one.
This one here?
No, the one with the flag.
Okay. Yeah, I've got it up on the screen.
No,
that's not it.
There, you see the one that says, look, that's it. There it is.
Me, Melfi, maintains innocence amid states that, is that the one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, I'll say that. Mr. Melfi maintains his innocence and states that the right of peaceful protest is fundamental to a healthy democracy.
Okay. So it is up on the screen for you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
My
Appreciate
pleasure.
And we will talk to tomorrow. And thank you, listeners and watchers, and please make your own decisions. And I'll go read all the chat here and see what was going on while I was talking.
Okay. All right. Look forward to continuing the conversation tomorrow, and good luck in court, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Rick. Have a good night.
All right. We'll take a quick break, folks. Come back, and Rhonda Jubinville will join us on the other side. So don't go away.
Feel the vibrations. Our quest continues. The truth is out there. We are Mavericks.
E.T. call home. Okay, here's Rhonda Jubinville. Welcome back.
Hello, Rick. Hello, everyone.
Great to have you back on the program.
Thank you, Rick.
So, of course, we've spoken about this mall, this Sears store, part of the mall in our hometown. It's an issue that I think just illustrates the kinds of challenges that communities across Canada and the United States are facing. It just, this boggles my mind, and I'm glad you're here to join us again tonight to kind of explain what the heck is going on with this multi-million-dollar purchase of what I personally think is a giant white elephant. And pay attention, folks, because this kind of stuff is coming to your hometown too. So take it away, Rhonda. Where are we at with this Sears building purchase for multi-million dollars by some business guys who honestly have international connections? And in my opinion, this is becoming an international embarrassment. But you go ahead and explain the status.
Well, the Sears building. So we had a downtown mall, downtown Chatham Center, which ironically replaced our, back in the late 70s, we had a beautiful Romanesque piece of architecture that used to sit at the very place where the Sears building is, and it housed our Civic Center, our City Hall. And Council of the Day, I don't know for sure the year, I'm going to say 1978, 1979, they voted to tear down this beautiful piece of architecture in the name of progress, tear it down and put up a mall, put up a shopping mall. Isn't there a song about that by the Kinks, I think? Anyway, so this beautiful piece of architecture came down. They put up a shopping mall and a Sears building and a parking garage. And then they moved our City Hall or Civic Center just down the road a block to the end of our main street, which is called King Street. So for the, since 1980, for, give or take a couple years, our City Hall has been housed in this, again, purposeful built. It was purposely built for us. Again, a very unique piece of architecture. And it was built for us to move into, and we housed our Civic Center there. Mm-hmm. And then, as we all know, the demise of downtown shopping centers and Sears as well. I think Sears kind of went into bankruptcy in probably 2018 maybe. So that was the demise of the Sears building and our mall that's attached to it. There's only a few stores that are still viable in there, like probably a handful. The rest are empty. So,
so there's a picture of the current Civic Center, it's a gorgeous building. I mean, yeah. It is stunning. It is a beautiful building, as you say, purpose built.
Yeah.
This, in my opinion, has wow factor.
Yeah, it's a very unique. It's unique. It's a unique piece of architecture. I think and it's right on the river. It's a beautiful, it has a nice landscape. It has a nice view. It has the back of it is very nice too. So it could be used for multi purposes in the backyard as well. I don't think they've really tapped into all of the uses it could have, but it very well could be used for other things in the backyard that is right on the river. A nice patio back there. Anyway, so, and I don't know all the timelines because I've only been on council for just a little over a year, but I think back in 2018 is when these transactions started. The birth of these transactions started happening between the owners of the mall and the Sears building, because it was all one entity, and the municipality. I don't know exactly what was happening along these timelines, but where we are today, so actually let me back up a year and a half, where they wanted to sell the entire mall and the Sears building. So the Sears it was the anchor store of the mall. So, but at one point, they wanted the municipality to buy the entire building, Sears plus the mall. And the idea at that time was to put a 4,000 seat arena in, and then the Sears would house our civic center, our local library, and our local museum. And then the 4,000 seat arena kind of fell by the wayside. I'm all for a brand new arena, but I personally wasn't a fan of it being built there. Lack of parking, that was a big thing for me. You know, if you got a 4,000 seat arena, you're going to need to find 2,000, you know, it could potentially, you need 2,000 parking spots. So I think that was a big issue. And I just thought the location wasn't the best. Anyway, that fell by the wayside. So the latest proposal was just selling the Sears building, which is the end, to the municipality, our city, in order to move our civic center, the picture that Rick had on display there a minute ago. So move that civic center, plus our local library, and plus our local museum into just the Sears building, not the mall, just the Sears building. So that's where it's at right now. Council just this past Monday voted to
the Sears building. Sears is empty, right? There's nothing in there.
Yes, there's nothing in there. Sears is empty.
Okay.
And it's been empty for a few years. So I'm going to say it's probably not in the best state. I don't know. But when things go unoccupied, it just goes without saying that they're not going to be in good condition. Plus, aside from that, it's going to obviously need to be retrofitted and renovations. And I know there's asbestos in there, so it's going to be a huge undertaking. So council last Monday voted in favor, 11-5, to buy that Sears building and move the Civic Center and the library and the museum into the Sears building.
And here's the kicker: they're going to pay like 2.95 million, and that portion of the mall, just the Sears building, is valued at, as I understand it, at about 600 to 660,000. But they're going to pay 2.95 million.
Correct, and that is because the company that owns it, CK King Street Holdings, I think is what it's called. But we all know that they are local businessmen. There's, I think, 4 local successful businessmen from Chatham-Kent that are the names behind that company. And they said they would not take anything less than the 2.95 million. So we bought it.
Oh, so, well, they drive a pretty hard bargain.
So 10 councillors plus our mayor voted in favor. And we know we live in a democracy, so majority rules, and the will of council will be upheld. And they voted in favor of buying the mall. Or sorry, the Sears building. They voted in favor
of part of the mall for 2.95 million. Okay, so can you tell us who the people are who are the businessmen behind this company that drives this hard bargain?
I am 99.9% sure their names are, and I don't think it's any secret. I'm not divulging anything that's not. Right. It's Rob Myers, Don Tatro, Ron Neidham, and Rob's daughter, Jessica Myers. I believe her first name's Jessica. So that's all that I know of. I don't think there's anyone else involved, but don't quote me or hold me.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's accurate. Rob Myers, of course, is the most well-known of those business people who owns or is involved with RM Sotheby's, which is RM Classic Cars and Sotheby's Auction House. They own Sotheby's Auctions as well, based here in Chatham, but internationally known. needless to say, fairly well heeled,
Mhm.
and a lot of money there. So they have this. Here's the parking garage. They're going to, and because they're buying the Sears building, but not the whole mall. Now, when they move in there, they're going to have to, and I assume they're going to have to start paying rent on the parking garage.
So
to
we
these
will
guys,
have
too.
access. We're going to have access to 175 spaces. And that all has to be negotiated into, like, we're going to be renting or leasing these spaces.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I've heard some pretty scary stories about this parking mall, that it is in a bad state of repair or disrepair. I've heard that pieces of concrete have been seen falling. So I did question it at the council meeting. Who's going to be responsible for this mall? When I looked at the agreement, there was really no specifics as to, yes, the businessmen are going to continue to own the mall, but who's going to be responsible for the safety and the upgrades on the mall? Because as far as I'm concerned, if we're going to let 175 municipal employees park in this mall, we better make sure that it's safe. So whose financial responsibility is that going to be? Because that was not in the agreement at all. So
like
is that going to be?
Is that a leasehold improvement then? That the tenant?
I don't know.
would
I
be the
don't know.
municipality? Like this got to. So they bought this. They don't. It's not even clear what the deal is.
Well,
And
not
it's
to
worth
us.
$660, but we're only gonna. We won't settle for less than a penny less than 2.95 million. What a deal!
Yeah, it's.
What the hell is that?
I don't know. I mean, there's only 5 of us that voted against it. It's just concerning, I guess.
Okay.
And the big kicker is Liz Valley did, and she worked so hard, and she did a petition, and she was very particular. She wanted the signatures to be all in person. So she gathered over 1,600 signatures in person. So this wasn't an online petition. She wanted to verify, with her own conscience, to know that these are real people that signed it from Chatham, Kent. So, I mean, 1,600 people, it's not a lot of people, but, behind those 1,600 people, you've probably got another 10 people that have the same opinion or support what they signed for.
Yeah.
And, it's just it would have been hard for her to get around. And she did have people helping her. But the fact remains, 1,600 people signed an in-person petition stating they don't want this civic center. And she has an online petition right now about the civic center. I don't have any, I didn't have anything to do with her petitions, but I'm aware of them. So, she has
There it
every right.
is.
She's a taxpayer. She has every right to be doing this. So,
and Liz has been on this program for, many of our viewers are familiar with Liz Valley. She's been on the show many times, and there's her new petition. Because they wouldn't let her present her original petition as the night of the delegations who spoke. And so now she has to start all over again. She's up to 115 signatures right now at change.org.
Yeah, I hope, again, I can't do anything about it because I have to respect the will of council. Even though I don't necessarily agree with the way they voted, which is evident because I voted against it, but the majority of them voted for it. So, but I mean, good for her for doing this. And I hope she's able to get it in front of council, and it, who knows, maybe a couple of them will take a look at this and think, maybe I should change my vote. There was, I think there was 15 deputations that night they were all against the purchase of the Sears building. We received as council, for me personally, between phone calls, messages, and emails, I would say I was way over 100 people that reached out to me to say, no, we do not want this. We don't want this. So, and it's hard for me, even let's just say hypothetically, I thought this was a good idea. For me to actually go against what the majority of taxpayers are saying, and for me to go against them, I couldn't do that. So I'm perplexed how this happened, because all of the other counselors received all of the same messages and emails and phone calls that I received as well. So
Right.
I don't know what's inspiring them to.
Oh,
vote
I can
the
tell.
way
I
they
can
did.
come up with a few theories about why maybe they voted in favor of giving these business guys $2.95 million for a piece of real estate that's valued at only $660,000. You know, I won't. I don't even think I have to say it. I think people can figure it out on their own without me saying a word. Here are some pictures of the exterior of RM classic cars in my hometown, and some interiors of some of the festivities that happen over there from time to time, and some of the things that they get involved with. This gives you a taste of the kind of world that these folks come from. You can imagine the value of some of these vehicles, and this is we're a world that, you know, we living here in our community, which has been dubbed the classic car capital of Canada. You know, we get a little taste of it, but this is not the real world, folks. Well, not for us anyway. This is the world of the elites, for sure, and certainly what we're dealing with here. Oh, there's the James Bond car, the Aston Martin that's worth I don't know how many millions. Okay, this is a different world. We are dealing here, folks, with the local elites, and now you see how they can easily deal with, you know, make a little cash, turn a nickel into a toonie. I'm sorry, but it's just so obvious what has happened here, and I want to choose my words carefully. But I know that the community does not want this. I know that I think every delegation that spoke at council that night, every single one spoke against this. There wasn't one delegation speaking in favor of it. And yet, I don't know how many delegations spoke that night. Was it 16 or something like that?
There was 15, I think.
15.
16 or 15, yeah.
Every single one said, don't do it, don't, please. And then council turns around and votes in favor of it. I just, I'm laughing, but it's making my stomach turn.
Yeah, it's well, you know, I've had so many people reach out to me in the last, well, even since our budget tax increase. One of my supporters, she reached out to me and she said, Rhonda, I have to go to the food bank. This is the very first time I have to go to the food bank.
Yep.
You know, and when I hear, and this is a person who's, you know, a contributing member of society. And when she tells me she has to go to the food bank for the very first time and how embarrassing it is for her. Right. And, you know, and of course I'm going to say, you're doing what you have to do. Do not be embarrassed for doing what you need to do. But when I have people like that reaching out to me, telling me they can't afford to put food on their table, and then we make some kind of extravagant purchase like this, we don't even have any costs to what it is going to cost to retrofit and renovate the Sears building to accommodate the Civic Center, the mall, or the library and the museum. We have no idea. There's been some numbers loosely thrown out, like 60 million back in 2022. But I will tell you, with the cost of building products and just the inflation, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's going to be double that. So, and you know, and there is a buyback clause, and I just think, but we're going to get to the point of no return. Are we actually, you know, let's just say they come back at us with a quote of 100 million. Is council going to say, okay, let's put the brakes on this and let's not do this anymore? I just don't know if that will happen. I don't know, what if they come back at 120 million, or what if they come back at 150 million? Will council say no? I don't know. And this is what I'm very afraid of, that this will happen.
Yeah, it's because this 2.95 million is obviously just the beginning, the tip of the iceberg. 2.95 million, but we could be into the community could be on the hook for 160 million. I could see that easily. This is
well, and there's another factor here that has not even been brought to the public, which is at the back, or I should say at the side of our civic center, our main fire hall is there. So Chatham-Kent Fire Services, the main hall is there. Yeah. So if we sell the civic center, we don't know yet what we're going to do with them. So obviously we're going to have to house our firefighter friends as well. So what cost, there's going to be another major cost involved. And this hasn't even been broached. This wasn't even part of that. So there's so many moving parts to this, so many parts that have not been addressed. I just think the whole thing is very fiscally irresponsible, and I'm just still kind of perplexed as to how this is
flabbergasted. I am, yeah. But knowing what I know, I'm not entirely surprised.
And I do want to say, the 4 business people that I mentioned, they have put Chatham-Kent on the map. So, I don't begrudge them. They are great businessmen. They know how to make a dollar. I'm grateful for what they have done for Chatham-Kent. And, this isn't personal. What I'm speaking about, not wanting to buy the Sears building, has nothing to do with the way I feel towards them as businessmen. Good for them, right? Good for them. But I say, shame on us for what
I'll speak a little more bluntly. It's one thing to help the community. It's another thing to profit at the community's expense. And that's where I stand on it.
I agree. But, today I was thinking, and, you were showing pictures of what the man has accomplished and what he has under his belt. But, he might not even know. When he sat, he was there at council, or all of them were there at the council meeting, and perhaps they had no clue that there was so much resistance. I don't know. I'm trying to be the devil's advocate here, and maybe they didn't even know that there was so much resistance to what is going on. If they're not engaged with the community, and if they're not hearing, from the people that they're dealing with, that there is this resistance, they might not have known. That might have been the very first time that they heard the resistance. So I don't know. I just think from a municipal perspective, we should have done a little bit more due diligence before we proceeded with this. I think it wasn't a good business decision, but like I said, it was the will of council. So here we are.
Yeah. Well, there is a buyback provision in the agreement. And I'm hearing some rumblings that some people want that exercised. So I don't think that this is the end of it. That being said, even if it is, even if these business men do end up buying it back, as per the agreement, the contract, in the meantime, they've been given a sizable interest-free loan, courtesy of the Chatham-Kent taxpayers. So they can use that capital in the meantime for various projects and for even collateral against other loans to leverage other business deals in other locations, maybe even in other communities. But anyway, that all remains to be scrutinized further, I expect, by the public, because I am seeing that the public generally is pretty upset about this one. And Mayor Caniff maybe has a little explaining to do to the taxpayers, citizens, and voters, especially come next election.
Well, he
Just
did
saying.
mention, he did make a comment that people were telling him that if he voted in favor of it, that they would not re-vote for him. He mentioned that during the council meeting. So I don't know. And many people, when they were sending their emails into council, they did say that. It was very clear. People were saying, we are watching how you are going to vote on this.
Yeah.
And we will exercise our rights and the way we want to vote in 2026 and in the next municipal election if you don't vote the right way for this project. So I don't know. They didn't seem to, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
mean,
I did have some conversations, or there was some council chatter prior to this back in the summer, and some of my colleagues on council were vehemently against this, visibly, like strongly against it. But then the tides changed, and I don't know. I don't know what happened. So something triggered
unbelievable.
them.
Suddenly, it's so many councillors had a change of heart.
Yeah,
What
it
could it have
was.
been that made them change their minds? I'll have to think about that.
I don't
Oh
know,
my!
but they did.
Oh,
But they
this
did, and I
this-
witnessed it. I witnessed someone that I thought, wow, this person is 100% not going to vote in favor, and then they did, and I thought, oh dear, how did that happen? Like seriously, I was just taken aback by it. But I mean,
amazing.
I mean,
Truly
I'm
amazing.
not going to be privy to any of this, anything on the happening that's not on the surface. I wouldn't be privy to anything, so I have no explanation.
Yeah. Well, Rhonda, I it's not over. But
Well,
I
do
really,
know,
yeah.
yeah, I do know some taxpayers, or like Liz Valley, she's going to, or other people, and there could be more that are going to try to campaign, use the tools that are afforded to us to try to, fight against it, I guess, for lack of better words. So,
Yeah,
I mean, I can't do anything because I'm part of council and council voted in favor of it. So
right.
I just have to follow along.
Yeah, well, I
But
appreciate you.
that doesn't mean everybody else does have to do that. So
That's right. And this is finalized. This crazy deal is going to be this super bargain for the municipality. It's finalized next month, I guess.
Well, it's January 31st is the closing date.
Right. Okay. And council doesn't even meet again until
February 5th.
Right. But there
So
is a
I'm not
buyback provision. So I think there is kind of a community
there is
groundswell out there that is going to push back on this a bit. So and again, folks, it may seem like a local issue here, but this is just so typical of the kind of stuff that goes on in municipalities everywhere. It is typical, I think, of what even goes on at different levels of government, where it's just not in the best interests of the citizens or the taxpayers, and things have to change. This is not in the best interests of taxpayers or the community. And in my opinion, and you know what? This show is open to any of the business guys involved. This is open to any of the counselors, to other people in the community who want to talk to me about this. This is an open forum. So if I'm getting it wrong, you are welcome to come on here and set me straight. I'd absolutely love to have a conversation with any of you. Open for business here, open for free speech. So, Rhonda, thank you so much for just bringing us up to date on where council is at. I know that you now have to, carry on business in support of, what council has voted in favor of, but still, being fair and mindful of what the citizenry really is.
Right.
I think
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Two different things. They're very divided. So,
Yes,
and it's really sad because council is supposed to represent the constituents, the residents of their municipality. So it's disheartening, I guess. So
Yeah, well, it's disheartening when you have a mayor who doesn't stand up for the people when he's needed, and I've witnessed that myself repeatedly over the last few years. So just say I'm disappointed is an understatement, and that's my editorial on this one. Rhonda, thank you. Really appreciate it. Anything else you would like to add tonight before we sign off?
I think that's kind of where we're at right now. It's pretty fresh. So just a lot of people who are very animated about how they feel about this whole scenario. So
yeah. Okay. Well, I'll let you go, and I will wrap up for the night. Thank
All
you
right.
so
Thanks
much,
for having me, Rick. Okay. Have a good night.
See ya.
Thank
Rhonda Jubinville. And folks, I appreciate you guys spending the evening with me here tonight. Again, that's just a local thing, but not a local thing. This is, well, you see what's going down. We'll see where it goes. That being said, I will be back tomorrow night, same time, same channel. MaverickNews.ca is the website. The Rumble channels is where we could really use some support by having you guys subscribe over there. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. We're firing on YouTube over there. Not running on Facebook tonight, but we're on Twitch and Cloud Hub and Odyssey and a bunch of other platforms as well. So look for us all over the place, but Rumble is where it's at. And again, yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Where's my closer? There it is right there. I found it. I'll be back on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.